like kind of the thing. And whatever like kind of people make you believe, you know, that like this is all nonsense. Most of the time, like history professor, a literature professor, who worked their whole life in writing books about somebody who probably was not a writer even.
Sure.
And naturally, that these people like say it's all bullshit and nonsense is a little bit like kind of, you know, it's like when you like you know, attack the church. So,
Yeah.
that's that.
Have you had angry emails from
No, but
visiting professors?
I had a couple of like run-ins with some Stratfordians, they're called.
Can you go back to Stratford? You got to this?
I think I'm like kind of persona non grata. I'm even like kind of afraid they're like kind of doing like riot now in my house, but in front of my house. You know, they find out, oh my God, he even has a house in London. They were like saying, oh my God, let's get him out. But it's interesting. We had like you know, like real debates about it. You know, we're starting also a university tour. You know, where we want to kind of really you know, like kind of get people closer to what it is. And then I'm always like saying the movie is actually really a celebration of the writer of William Shakespeare. As you have seen, we have a lot of theater scenes. It's a little bit like an Amadeus, the opera and music scenes, and we like took this very serious. And I have to say, this was also for me, you know, probably the most magical thing about it, that I could shoot, you know, and film these, you know, theater scenes.
Yeah.
I was always asked myself, why was it adding so much? And I realized all of a sudden, you know, it was a little bit like James Cameron is famously a diver. So what he did, you know, in his movie, you know, he pretty much created a little bit of underwater world, and it was felt appropriate, you know, to like wear glasses, and that's why it worked so well. And I'm like kind of saying sometimes, I saw the last Transformers where it added also like kind of some additional dimension, you know, because you know, there it's like kind of mainly a film where you see like kind of big objects, you know, like transforming and passing by you, and that there it adds something. But for most films, I think it doesn't add anything. And I think everybody has to ask himself what should be really in 3D, you know, because it's a very expensive enterprise. And sometimes it's also like kind of destroys a certain, you know, thing. For example, I think the last Pirates was way too dark, and you hardly saw anything, because they took my glasses off and looked, is this really true? And it's so I'm very, you know, I think, you know, it will add to some films, but most of the time it really doesn't add anything. And so I'm like kind of, in a way, like against it to do everything in 3D. I only like one effect 3D had, more like digital projections, because I'm not totally into and believe in digital projections.
Can we get a mic in from the middle?
I'll just shout out.
All right, cool.
Has anybody, when you came out and said you were doing on, I just wondered if perhaps you were going to refer to
What is that?
Did anybody wonder if perhaps you might start to blow the globe please when you decided
It burns it down. It burns.
Well, it's like kind of, I mean, that's like the thing when you like kind of make movies like mine, you know, you get questions like that. I totally understand it too, because when I go on like kind of tours, you know, around the world, you know, they always like ask, why you didn't blow up in our city something, you know? And I'm saying, well, I'm a filmmaker, not a terrorist, but and you know what, you know, to be really honest, you know, when I came into the Globe, I was really disappointed, because I had like really researched, you know, theaters of that time really quite closely. And when you look at all the you know, the knowledge we have about theaters, you know, when you go to Globe, it's not really an original theater. It had to be built much wider, you know, because of like, you know, fire, you know, like kind of, you know, stuff, and it's just like, it has not this feeling of really theater of that time had. They were much tighter, and they were much higher, and they were like this, you know, like kind of this. It was really an amazing feeling walking in our set, because it was a replica, an exact replica built of the Rose, and it was like just everybody who also the actors who act there were like kind of amazed by what like kind of the feeling was. And one of them was Mark Rylance, you know, artistic director of the Globe, and he was like excited like